The room was quiet, except for the rhythmic ticking of an antique grandfather clock. Daniel Whitmore, the once powerful former president, sat alone at his grand oak desk, staring at a simple envelope. His hands, now wrinkled and unsteady, traced the handwriting on the front. It was a name he hadn't seen in over 40 years. Michael Carter. His breath caught in his throat. The last time he had heard that name, he had been a ruthless young senator, willing to do whatever it took to rise in politics, and Michael was the man whose life he had destroyed. The year was 1982. Daniel had been a promising senator, charismatic, bold, and determined to climb the ranks. But there had been one problem. Michael Carter, an investigative journalist who had uncovered a scandal tied to Daniel's campaign. Daniel had been young, hungry for power, and unwilling to let a single reporter stand in his way. So he had made one phone call. And just like that, Michael's career was over. His credentials were revoked. His reputation smeared. His family suffered under fabricated charges. And Daniel, he had won the election. Years turned into decades. The scandal faded. People moved on. Daniel became one of the most powerful men in the world. And Michael Carter, he was forgotten, until now, until this letter. His fingers trembled as he unfolded the letter. Dear Daniel, I'm sure you never expected to hear from me again. Perhaps if you even remember me, you assume I wrote this out of hatred, but time is a strange thing. It gives perspective, even to those who have suffered the most. Daniel's vision blurred. He had faced political rivals, war rooms, global crises, but nothing had ever unravelled him like this. You took everything from me, my job, my credibility, my ability to provide for my family. But in the years that followed, something unexpected happened. I rebuilt. Not in the way you might expect, not in power, not in influence, but in love. I found a new path, one that didn't require revenge or bitterness. I spent my life helping others, young journalists, people who faced injustice. And now, as I near the end of my journey, I want you to know something. Daniel gripped the paper, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. I forgive you. His breath hitched. Not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to carry the weight of what you did any longer. I don't know what you've built your life on, Daniel, but I hope, before it's too late, you realise that power and legacy mean nothing without integrity. This will be the last letter I ever write. I hope you find peace before you leave this world. Michael Carter. Daniel let the paper slip from his fingers. For 40 years, he had convinced himself that he had done what was necessary, that victory justified everything. But now, at 77 years old, sitting in a quiet house filled with hollow accomplishments, he realised he had won everything, and yet lost himself. Daniel knew there was only one thing left to do. With shaking hands, he reached for the phone, dialed a number he had searched for in secret. A woman's voice answered. Hello? Is this Anna Carter? A long pause. Yes. Who is this? My name is Daniel Whitmore. I need to talk about your father. Silence. Then, you're 40 years too late, Mr. Whitmore. And the line went dead. Daniel stared at the receiver, the weight of his sins finally crashing down. For the first time in his life, he was truly alone.